Hello and welcome to this episode of Beef Tips and Gravy. I'm John Houston, Director of Business Services for ProTrition Feed, and thank you for joining us this evening. This evening I want to talk with you about an important subject as we enter into the fly season as it relates to beef cattle. As we get into fly season, that is a very optimal and very major problem for beef producers. It does cause lots of economic damage. If you read the statistics, it can cause even as much as $1 billion worth of damage annually. So we want to be sure and control these flies. In particular, we want to talk about horn flies. These horn flies, if you are not familiar, are the small biting flies that you see on the backs and on the bellies of our cattle. These are the ones that draw a blood meal every day and that really do cause a lot of aggravation and weight loss on cattle. So we want to be sure and control these. One way to do that is to understand this fly's life cycle. You know, many people say, well, my neighbor doesn't do anything for flies, so why should I? If you understand the way that the horn fly in particular, their life cycle and the way that they operate, they don't travel very far for a blood meal. So most of these flies do not travel from farm to farm, even across the fence line if there's other cattle in the operation. So really, if you're doing something on your farm, you have a good chance of controlling these horn flies. One of the easiest and best ways to control horn flies is to use an insect growth regulator in our mineral or feed products. The minerals are formulated with an insect growth regulator called Alticid, at least the co-op brand minerals are. Alticid is a great product. It's been around and proven time and time to control horn flies. Most people get concerned about how does this product work and does it contaminate and cause problems with our meat and that kind of thing. Certainly food safety is of utmost concern because we are raising a food product. However, Alticid IGR goes through the animal for one reason, and that is to get the product into the manure. So the manure is where we need the product because that's where the horn fly lays its eggs. The horn fly then lays its eggs and the IGR interrupts that life cycle and stops that larvae from hatching. So that's important for two or three reasons. One is we can't let the cattle run out of IGR mineral or feed products because if we let them run out, then we are causing that egg to hatch and starting our life cycle all over again. So we're going to be roughly a month behind if we let them run out of mineral. So that life cycle is very important and that we keep the mineral in front of them. Co-op minerals are formulated with IGR, Alticid, in a way that we want the consumption to be around 4 ounces. And when you see a mineral tag that says 4 ounces, 3.5 ounces, 5 ounces, whatever the case might be, we're talking about consuming that amount per day, an average of that amount per day over a period of time. Certainly weather conditions and other conditions control what the animal does from day to day. So an animal might consume 3 ounces today, 5 ounces tomorrow, but over the feeding period, we want them to have consumed roughly around 4 ounces. And if they do that, they will get enough Alticid at that rate to control horn flies on a 1,400-pound cow. Now, that's important also because if we have heavier cows, then certainly they need to be getting more Alticid in their system. Now, when we talk about IGR Alticid, it is an ultra-safe product, a product that does and has been proven to control horn flies. We want to make sure that we feed it correctly and that we don't let them run out of feed. We want to be sure that we start that about 30 days before the onset of fly season. And so we have this, what we call, and Central Life Sciences, the maker of Alticid, term this as the 30-30 program. So 30 days before the onset of fly season, all the way to 30 days after the first frost. Because as you know, especially in Tennessee, the weather changes very rapidly, so we can have some cold days, then all of a sudden we have some hot days and those fly larvae begin to hatch over and over on those warm days. So I want to be sure and start it early enough and feed it long enough to control our horn flies. Once again, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions about fly control mineral or about Alticid IGR, see your folks at your local farmers co-op. Thanks for joining us.